everybody! Hello! Beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon ang aming pagbate sa lahat na nakatutok sa atin. Welcome to this week's edition of the Chasedown. Ako po si Riza Diaz. Joining me are our ka-chasers na I hope is feeling good dahil naku kagabi sobrang maulan. Ang sarap sanang matulog pero ngayon wala munang siesta-siesta kasi magkakasama tayo. Unahin ko na yung pinakagwapo na talaga namang ibang-iba yung ka-freshan today. Mukhang ang haba-haba ng tulog kahapon ay kagabi. Jerry Ramos, how are you?
Mr. Suave, Papa. Okay.
So, wala na lahat is wealth. And sa panahon nga, yan kailangan na COVID-19 cases dito, pero yan nga, kalusugan na lang ang natitirang kayamanan natin. Kaya pag-ingatan natin yan. Nonetheless, kusugin namin kayo ng malulusog.
Nice. Alam mo si Abak, Jerry, fan mo siya today. Talagang, siya, elib siya sa sa looks mo today. Also looking good in his bright and yellow, nako, sorry, hindi ako colorblind, is Zaldi Perez. How are you, Zaldi?
Hi, Risa. Kumusta, mga ka-chaser? Jerry, okay.
Galing. Iba si Zaldi, no? You know what, when I listen to Zaldi, it reminds me of those mornings na nakikinig ka sa radyo, di ba? Tapos inaabangan mo kung pasok ba o wala. Alam mo yung gano'n? Inaabang ka. It's that familiar voice. I love it. Now, alam mo, meron tayong parang tagisa ng ng mga caps today at hindi kami na-inform sa'yo na kapag cap sana ako, nagsash ako today eh. Looking nice in his cap is Waylon Galvez. How are you, Waylon?
Hi, Riza, and also, what's up, mga ka-chasers? Nako, nabanggit mo yung boses ni Zaldi. Para kang nakikinig sa radyo tuwing umaga nung unang panahon. Kung ganong kaluma ang boses ni Zaldi Perez, ganong kabago ang aming mga balita dito lang sa show na to. 2 oras. Tutok lang kayo, kami bahala sa inyo. Riza?
Alam mo, i-praise natin yon. Ang tawag sa boses ni Zaldi, classic. Ganon. Diba? Classic. Ibang klase. Talagang, kumbaga, yan ang yan ang mga kinalakihan natin. And of course, looking as handsome as ever. Alam mo to, ang pinaka-soft-spoken namin chaser, pero ito ang pinaka-insightful is Abak Cordero. How are you, Abak?
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. And of course, special mention sa kasama kong si Mr. Suave, Jerry Ramos. Please allow me, let us dedicate this episode to the medical frontliners. Medyo hindi pa natin sila napapagbigyan ng special na manood muna kayo dyan, mga doktor, mga nurse, mga technicians, mga x-ray, lahat tayo dyan, mga medical staff, mga hospital staff sa clinic, security guard, lahat. Standby lang kayo para sa inyo.
Tama si Abak dyan. So wherever you guys are watching us from, it could be on your mobile phones, on your computers, or pwede na naman on your TV screens via, of course, PB Rush would like to welcome all of you. It's going to be a fun but interesting and also enlightening show this afternoon. So everybody, with that being said, mga ka-chasers, let's welcome everyone. Boys and girls, welcome to the
Chasedown on lockdown.
Yes, lockdown pa rin. We are sa NCR, we are still currently, Metro Manila still currently on MECQ, but we're hoping, di ba, we're praying that the situation gets better. And di ba, ang alam natin is by tomorrow, not by tomorrow, I correct myself, by Monday, we'll have an announcement from the President and the IATF as to when ba malilift tong MECQ or should we extend. And we're hoping na we get good news kasi again, not only our personal lives, pati yung mga sporting events natin, medyo tinamaan din yung pagbabalik natin sa MECQ. And speaking of which, would like to start off the show with our headlines. Eto nang mainit nating headlines. This Saturday afternoon, usap-usapan, unahin ko na, syempre, ang NBA bubble. Nagagayahin daw ng Chooks-to-go Pilipinas 3-on-3 na malapit na nga magsimula. Mamaya, we have a special guest on the show that will tell us more about this. So, abangan nyo yan.
Yes, sunod natin, Reese. You mentioned the NBA. Ito, NBA playoffs, arangkada na. Bukas yan kasi merong play-in pa eh. Bukod dun sa playoffs, start na tomorrow yan. Naku, maraming sabik na sabik dahil NBA ito. Laban-laban na to.
Super exciting news!
Okay, at ilang araw pa lamang nakalilipas, nagkaroon po ng pagsabog sa Beirut, Lebanon. At doon sa lugar na pinagsabugan ay nabalitang nadamay yung FIBA Asia headquarters. At kukumustahin natin ang naging kalagayan ng headquarters doon dito sa the Chasedown.
Yan.
O naman, surfer Roger Casugay nanalo ng International Fair Play Award.
Yay!
Yun.
Galing-galing.
Kaibigan mo yan, Risa, di ba?
Yes. And?
Ang sa akin is si karateka James De Los Santos. Online ito, pare. Online karate. After 3 fights, tinalo niya yung number 1 from Portugal. Mamaya natin pag-usapan yan.
Right. Remember, we had James De Los Santos in the show a few weeks back, and he brought some good news to us. At tulad ng sinabi niya back then, talaga namang tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung kanyang efforts to join tournaments via online. At tuloy-tuloy din yung paghakot niya. So congratulations to him. And with that, we'd like to remind, of course, our viewers, napakarami nating bisita today. Tulad ng nabanggit ng mga ka-chasers natin, we have Coach that will explain to us more about Chooks-to-go Pilipinas 3-on-3. We'll have on the show in a bit Coach Eric Altamirano. Hindi lang yan, makakasama natin ang ating paboritong ka-chaser na, di ba? Talagang kasama na natin siya every week, si Coach Ryan Gregorio. He will be giving us updates from samahang basketball ng Pilipinas at tulad ng nabanggit ni Zaldi yung recent na pangyayari sa Beirut. So we'll get to know more about it. And also, hindi lang yan, Roger Casugay is also joining us on the show later on today, all the way from La Union. So he's gonna bring so much sunshine on our gloomy day. Alam mo yung mga ganun, di ba? May mga taong may dala silang liwanag kahit papano on days na you need sunshine. Roger is one of those people. But now we are ready to bring on the show our first guest dahil punong-puno ang show natin. Maybe Waylon can help me in introducing our guest.
Yes, Reese, no? Eto, currently, ano siya? Chooks-to-go Pilipinas Commissioner. Pero dati rin itong PBA champion coach. At syempre, naglaro to sa Universidad ng Pilipinas. Walang iba kundi si Coach Eric Altamirano.
Yay! Coach E!
Coach E!
Tapos,
Coach E!
yung lahat ng
Coach, umpisahan ko
Kumusta ka
na.
na, Coach Eric?
Coach?
Yes, Coach. How are you? Kumusta ang family? during the quarantine?
Yeah.
Okay, Coach, yan po yung gusto naming pag-usapan na main topic po for today. Yung plano nga po ng Chooks-to-go Pilipinas na naggamitin as a model itong NBA bubble. Waylon, go ahead.
Yes, Coach. Umpisahan ko lang. Coach, di ba recently tinanggap ng Games and Amusements Board na ang 3x3 professional league na. Coach, malaking bagay ba ito for Chooks-to-go Pilipinas na ngayon isa na kayong pro league?
Well, malaking bagay in terms of really, number one, popularizing the sport. Kasi alam naman natin, ang 3x3, bagong sport pa lang yan, no? We started it last year, and ngayon pa lamang talaga nag-create ng awareness dito sa bagong sport na to. Pangalawa, malaking bagay itong paglipat namin sa pagiging pro league dahil yung experience namin last year, no, nag-compete kami abroad, napansin namin na halos lahat ng mga players or teams na nag-compete dito sa World Tour, puro mga professional leagues. And I think it's one of the areas na pwede nating puntahan para mapalakas natin ang ating 3x3 team in terms of going into the Olympics. Alam mo naman, Olympic sport na ngayon ang 3x3.
Coach, still on that topic of, again, 3-on-3 being a professional league now, educate us some more. Ano po yung mga changes na makikita namin? Sa fans po ba, katulad ko po, mararamdaman po ba namin na nag-professional na ang let's say, Chooks-to-go Pilipinas 3-on-3, meron po ba kaming mga makikitang pagbabago?
Well, siguro, ang isa lang is it will attract more teams to join us. And of course, iba yung, when you say professional, kasi parang tumataas kagad yung level ng game. Diba? Siyempre, you become an elite league. And hopefully, by doing that, lahat ng mga papuntang mga bata, magkakaroon sila ng aspiration. Tulad ng ginagawa sa 5-on-5, gusto rin namin, if we can pursue this type of career na from playing in the amateur level, meron din kaming aakyatan level.
Nice. Okay. Who's next?
Abak.
Yes, ma'am. Coach,
Ay, Abak.
medyo nataon naman. Ay, thank you, Coach. Nataon naman na the Chooks-to-go is turning pro under this pandemic. Ano? So, how's the league preparing for its entry into the professional ranks? Ano bang may plano ba kayo mag-bubble, paano ba ang natin, Coach?
Bali, nung we sent a proposal sa IATF to restart our league, isa yun sa mga sinama namin sa aming proposal. And alam naman natin, no, napakahirap talagang mag-restart ngayon. It's easy to start a league, pero with the present condition, ang dami mo talagang kailangan i-take into consideration, lalong-lalo na yung health protocol, no? So pinag-aralan naming mabuti yan. We studied and researched a lot of practices na ginagawa sa buong mundo. Paano ba natin i-restart itong basketball? And for 3x3, we found na mas practical sa amin and mas safe if we hold a bubble type of league. Actually, I'm sure naririnig na yung mga bubble ng NBA, diba? But yun sa amin is namin study and research a lot. We will only hold it, we will hold a series of bubbles within the conference. So every 4 days, 3 nights and 4 days, papasok kami sa loob ng bubble. and then we will hold two legs of our league. No, 3x3 kasi it's always it's a tour type of competition. So parang in one day you can finish one leg or one tour, and there will be 6 legs per conference. So I hope I explain
Meron
myself.
na po ba kayong... Sorry. Coach, meron na po ba kayo na-identify na lugar for this bubble? Meron na ba kayo?
Oh, yes. We are holding our bubble sa Inspire Sports Academy sa Calamba, Laguna. This is owned by Mr. Hansi, and it's actually one of the schools ng National University. Ganda siya. Complete with all the facilities. Meron siyang hotel, may dorm, and then world-class yung sports facility nila. And it's very conducive kung gagawa ka ng isang bubble type of league.
Okay. One more question, Coach. And how often po ang testing ng mga players and staff and league officials?
Yeah. Well, good thing that you asked, no? Kasi yan ang isang bagay na talagang pupunan namin ng atensyon, no? Yung testing. So, all the people that will be involved in the league, lahat ng papasok sa bubble will have to go through a PCR test, yung swabbing. And then, that's days before we enter the bubble. And then the day itself, na papasok kami sa loob ng bubble, we will have an antigen test. And then, pag nakapasok na lahat, we will have another one in the middle. So, kung halimbawa pumasok kami ng Thursday, in between the first and the second leg, which will be held on a Friday and a Sunday, yung Saturday, magkakaroon pa rin lahat ng isa pang test. Just to make sure lang na everybody's safe. And then, of course, ang pinoprotektahan natin yung mga pamilya ng ating mga participants. No? So, we want to make sure na pag umuwi sila, bumalik sila uli sa kanilang mga bahay, safe ang family.
Thank you. For the next question, si Saldi po yata.
Oo nga. Okay. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Coach. Long time no see tayo.
Hindi ka
Well,
parang bumabata ka pa lalo
tanda na.
Zoom lang yan.
Nalalagas na nga mga bigote ko eh. Madalang na. Okay, Coach. Yung unang question ko sa iyo, meron na ba kayong considering itong sa assessment mo? Kailan pwede magsimula itong liga ninyo?
Meron kaming targeted date, September 24 to 27. That's our first bubble. But again, everything will depend on IATF, no? So, hopefully, ma-lift na sana yung MECQ by Tuesday next week. So, we can already start our testings and our training. Kasi, yun lang ang pinayagan sa atin ng IATF, yung training. And siguro, titignan muna nila yung mga protocols namin kung maganda, safe. And then, hopefully, couple of weeks then, mapayagan na kami to move on to the next phase of the aming proposal, no? And so if everything works out well, we're hoping na mag-start kami by September 24th.
Nice.
Okay, so pag-start na pala kayo. Kumustahin ko naman yung pondo na gagastusin nyo dito sa bubble. Obviously, talaga namang napakagastos dito. Do you think kayang-kaya at hindi masasaktan ang bulsa nitong Chooks-to-go?
Admittedly, talagang gagastos ka, no, by doing this. But pinag-aralan naman naming mabuti, and I find it really reasonable in terms of cost of running the bubble. We compared it with our cost when we ran our league last season, at hindi naman siya masyadong malayo in terms of cost. So, kasi hindi naman ganun katagal din nag-stay sa loob ng bubble, lumalabas din sila. So, hindi naman siya ganun kalaki. Na, of course, if we compare it to the NBA bubble na 100 something million. Hindi naman.
80.
Oo. One last question, Coach. Huling question ko. Yung halimbawa, may mga player kayo diyan sa sa 3-on-3. Yung eligibility ba ng mga player na maglalaro sa PBA walang epekto? Hindi magkakaroon ng problema yung mga player?
That's a good question, no? Ang maganda kasi when we talk to Chairman Bahamitra, binigyan niya kami ng isang concern yon na inihain namin sa kanya, and he assured us na magkakaroon ng special guest license ang tawag, no? Sabihin nun, gusto natin dahil bago nga yung sport, we wanted to be inclusive, na wag muna nating i-limit yung mga players na maglalaro sa 3x3 kasi that's the very reason why we wanted to do this. We wanted to promote the sport, sikatin natin. We wanted the players to experience playing dito sa 3x3. So naintindihan naman ni Chairman at gumawa sila ng resolution na payagan na makapaglaro ang mga non-pro dito sa liga. Hindi pa sila kailangan kumuha ng pro license. Although siyempre meron din kami mga players na pro na at decided na sila, excited na sila, gusto nila maging pro, then yun ang mga bibigyan namin ng pro license.
Okay. So yun, wala palang problema.
Coach E, paano lang na-mention mo yung NBA na sa bubble nila talagang madaming participants. But sa 3x3, how many do you expect?
Sa first conference namin, we are already assured of 12 teams joining the league, no? So i-count mo na yun, kasama mo na yung mga players and officials and also yung production team that will cover the games and the officials of the league. Siguro mga roughly nasa 100 to 150 people ang papasok sa bubble.
And ang format naman ng 3x3, alam natin, nag-cover tayo ng 3x3, ano yan eh? From morning hanggang hapon yan, yung games eh, no?
Correct, that's correct.
So, similar lang din. Parehas lang.
One day lang siya, and then you already have a champion. That's yung tinatawag na leg or tour.
Okay.
So, we're following the format ng FIBA. So, all over the world, the way we do our format is very similar to the FIBA World Tour. Kasi nga, that's one of the requirements kung para makapag-qualify ka.
Thank you, Coach E.
Coach, you mentioned the FIBA World Tour. Ako, nakapanood ako ng 3x3 ng Chooks-to-go, and it's a different environment, you know? It's so dynamic. The fans are very close. There's so much going on. Parang siya talagang, kumbaga, parang may party, and you know, and then you're playing basketball, and it's super enjoyable for fans. Ngayon po na nasa bubble tayo, so walang guests, walang fans, walang family, talagang kayo-kayo lamang po yun.
Yes, that's true. And I think that's one of the challenges, no? Hindi lamang siguro 3x3. Siguro kahit siguro mga 5-on-5, I'm sure the PBA would also have that challenge. No? Paano mo gagawing exciting yung laro without the fans, diba? So, dito papasok yung creativity natin, you know? And siyempre, napanood natin ng NBA, nakikita natin how they do it. And also the other leagues all over the world, hindi lang basketball, pati soccer, you know, or other European basketball leagues as well. So, napapansin natin, everybody's using the virtual, and so probably we'll also go into that direction.
All right, Jerry is joining us back finally. Jerry, welcome back. Do you have some questions for Coach Eric?
Jerry, kasama ko siya kanina kay Com Noli.
Busy po siya.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Coach, pag natuloy ba yung bubble nyo, pwede bang magsama ng mga guest dyan, mga asawa or anak man lang?
Hindi. Talagang we will be very strict, no? Talagang we want that bubble to be airtight. Unang-una, if we allow families to come in, mas lalaki ang cost eh. Remember, you have to consider the cost as well. So we're limiting it to a number of people lang. Na lalo na, this is the first time we're going to do this. So we want to make sure na we do it right and then it's safe. So as much as possible, muna tayo, we are on a fill out stage muna, especially itong first conference.
Sorry, Jerry, hindi ka pa pwede pumasok dun sa bubble.
Do not enter. No ID, no entry.
Oo. Coach, may mga pumapasok
No,
na questions. Now that we have turned pro 3-on-3 here in the Philippines, ano po ba yung magiging epekto naman ito for our chances in the Olympics, in our preparation for the Olympics? Can you give us an update sa ranking po natin?
Definitely makaka-apekto 'yon. I mean, makakatulong 'yon kasi napaka-importante na ituloy mo yung liga mo and if I'm not mistaken, may mga point system ang FIBA. So by becoming a professional league, it will help us with our point system as well, no? And alam naman natin na malaking bagay yung pag-gain ng points to be able to make it sa Olympics, at least for the Olympic qualifier. Last season, we started at number 60 sa rankings and then we made it to the 19th or I think 21 to kasi 24 lang yung pwedeng mapasama dun sa Olympic qualifier and we were fortunate enough na makasama dun and I attribute that to the points na nag-garner natin by doing a lot of tournaments and joining international tournaments as well. So yun yung tumulong sa atin to be able to pile up the points, no, to have a chance mag-qualify for duty.
Coach, meron akong nabanggit na yung points. Paano ba nakaka-pile up, mag-gain ng points? At saka ano yung magic number para mag-qualify for the Olympics dito sa 3-on-3?
Yun, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, no, yung how you pile up the points, medyo ang hirap explain yan. Sobrang complicated ng FIBA point system. Talagang, actually last year, it took us 6 months. Took us 6 months para maintindihan namin fully paano ba talaga, paano ba makapile up ng points, no? But in summary, because we've experienced it, na-realize namin kung saan ka pwede talagang makakuha ng points, no? And then that's through your league, that's through joining world tours or challengers or satellites. And then, of course, if you have grassroots leagues as well, makakatulong din sa... So, ang daming pwedeng pagkuhanan ng points, eh. Now, yung next question mo is, ilang points ba ang kailangan para mag-qualify ka, no? Actually, hindi mo masasabi yan, eh. Kasi, yun nga, patakasan. For example, yung nangyari sa amin last year, 24 lang, di ba? So, nung mga last few... May certain month kasi last year na parang pagdating mo dito sa month na to or exact date, hindi na nila papakita sa yung standing mo kung nasaan ka na, whether you are the 23, 22. So halimbawa, yung number 24 lamang sa iyo ng 1,000 or 2,000. So hahabulin mo 'yon, 'di ba? Habulin mo, kailangan mag-gain tayo ng points, let's do something. Ang problema, lahat din ng mga teams na yon, ganun din yung nasa utak nila. So sila din, they will pile up points, hahabulin nila yan. So ang nangyari, talagang hindi mo alam. All you have to do is do your part to be able to gain more points. So hindi mo alam, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, ay, pag nag-30 million kami, pasok namin. Hindi. Depende yan sa mga ibang countries also. Dahil they're also generating a lot of points with their leagues. Like Serbia. Serbia is the #1 country now in the world. Ang Serbia kasi, sa buong Serbia, lahat, every week yata meron silang liga eh. Ganun sila ka-aggressive.
Okay. Any more questions, guys? Meron pa ba? Coach, ito, kamustahin ko na lang very quick. 3-on-3 pa lang, isapang 3-on-3. Your players, katulad po nila, sa inyo ko na po dadaan, sina Alvin Pasaol, sina Josh Monzon, ito po yung mga, kumbaga, mga ilan sa mga talagang nasa, kumbaga, fixed face, familiar faces, pag 3-on-3 ang usapan. Kamusta po sila? Are you in touch with them?
Yes, regular naman kami nagkikita through Zoom kasi we started our workouts na yung preparation lang para lang pagka na-lift na yung MECQ, then they will be physically ready para dun sa mga individual training. So, para din hindi sila tumaba and hindi sila mabigla. Kasi alam mo, mahirap din itong na-layoff ka ng 5 months and then all of a sudden, bigla ka maglalaro. So, dyan papasok yung mga injuries, di ba? And we want to avoid that. So, we want to start really slow and make sure na palakasin po na natin yung mga katawan nila. And then, from there, we will resume yung mga ginagawa na namin dati. But they're doing well. They're also excited. They're looking forward to being on the court. Alam mo naman ng mga players, yan ang ano nila eh, parang kasama na sa part ng buhay nila yan, yung paglalaro ng basketball.
Alright. Coach, before we take a break, although you're still going to join us for the next part of the show, ano po yung mensahe nyo sa mga nanonood sa atin? I personally would get a lot of questions about 3-on-3, you know, especially when they learned that you are pro already. Kung paano ba, pwede ba mag-try out? May draft po ba? Yung paano po sila pwedeng maging involved? And also for the fans, para abangan po nila yung inyo pong mga laro.
Well, unang-una, ang message ko lang sa mga fans natin na supportahan natin ang 3x3, whether it's the Chooks-to-go or any other leagues no, na merong mag-promote ng 3x3. Kasi ito yung isang sport na I really believe will magaling tayo. We can really excel on this type of sport. And for the Chooks-to-go 3x3 Pilipinas League, right now, siyempre, we are looking at teams, not players. Meron mga specific city-based teams na sumali sa atin dito. And hindi rin kami pwedeng kumuha ng maraming teams. No? We're limiting it to 12 kasi may mga format restrictions din ang 3x3. So, eventually naman, we will hopefully we will be able to expand and accept more teams. So, yung mga interesadong sumali, you know, ano lang kayo, magpintay lang kayo, and sana, I'm hoping na marami pang umusbong ng mga liga para lalo nating mapaangat ang 3x3 sa Pilipinas. And I'm sure there's always room for everybody ma-accommodate sila ng mga liga na to.
Sayang, Coach, kasi isasali ko sana po itong mga to eh. Meron akong 4 na player. Ito, si Abak, si Jerry, si Waylon, si Zach. Sakto sana. 4, di ba po, sa isang team. Ano sa may chance ba kaya kami, Coach? Makadagdag ba kami sa points yun? Makabawas yata kami. Oo. Huwag na lang.
Nakakatulong
Namang bawas.
Bawas. Mga 10 points, pwede na yan. Makakatulong.
Oh guys, alam niyo na ha, sabi ni Coach, mag-expand sila. Ngayon lang to because again, we are, you know, this is unprecedented times. Di ba? We've never been in the situation like this. So, let's pray for the best na sana po, Coach, ay maging successful po ito. And then from there, it would just grow and expand. And this means, you know, more basketball games is more livelihood for the players, for the officials, for the staff, and for all of us. So it's you know, it's a welcome development, definitely. So good luck sa Chooks-to-go Pilipinas 3x3. I am so excited.
Maraming salamat.
Coach, wait, wag muna po kayong aalis. Coach Eric Altamirano will see to be with us for the next part of the show. And so is another guest kasi pag-usapang NBA naman sa pagbabalik yan ng The Chasedown.
Chasedown.
Welcome back to the Chasedown. I'd like to say hello to all that are joining us on a medyo makulimlim na Saturday afternoon. Ako po si Rizzy Diaz. The Chasers are joining me, Waylon, Abak, Zaldi, and Jerry. And of course, we're so privileged na kahit abalang-abala, si Coach Eric Altamirano is spending his Saturday with us. Coach, hindi ka namin masyado naaabala ha? Kasi ang dami namin pang gusto pag-usapan eh.
Konti lang.
Coach, babati muna tayo sa mga sa mga nanonood sa atin. Si Julian Lapid, isa sa mga pinaka-paborito natin at pinakamamahal nating fan. Hi Julian, how are you? Chasers, may babatiin ba kayo?
Hi, Julian.
Ako, Riz. May babatiin ako. Belated happy birthday kay Coach Eric Altamirano.
Yun! Tama!
Salamat.
Nakuha mo ba yun?
Pasensya ka na, hindi kita
Manila Bulletin.
Ito,
Manila Bulletin
Isa
Sports
pa.
Editor, Tito Talaw.
Yun!
Happy birthday din.
Oh, birthday nga pala no. Parang.
Yan.
Tito Talo, happy
kayo.
birthday.
Okay. Ako
Hello to anybody right now?
babatiin ako. Babatiin
go
din
ahead,
ako.
Zach.
Babatiin ko yung aking may bahay. Si Ani, yan, binabati ko, nanonood yun. Ang aking nanay, yan, nanonood din yan. Yung aking mga kaibigan sa Morong Bataan, lagi din nanonood ng The Chasedown yan, at saka ng One Sport, dahil lalo na yun, meron ng NBA ngayon. Tapos yung mga ka-chaser natin na nanonood din natin ngayon, si Ana Espana, yan, si Jacqueline Morales, si Omar Belisario, I understand, kaibigan mo ito, Risa, si Chris Virginia Arellano Bales, yan, at saka si Lilian Rufo, yan, happy viewing sa inyo lahat yan.
Alright. Okay, mamaya, mas marami pa tayong babatiin sa mga nakatutok sa atin. Also via Facebook, keep on commenting para mabati din namin kayo in a short while. Okay, Coach, pag-usapan natin because again, everyone in the world is watching how the NBA is doing it. You know, we are closely observing kung paano nila nagagawa. What are your observations? What are the points that you've seen na gusto niyo pong nagustuhan ninyo at perhaps pwedeng i-improve pa?
Well, sa ngayon, talagang ang golden standard talaga ng restart ang NBA. Lahat yata sa buong mundo tinitignan ng NBA And obviously they're doing something right in everything. Sa health protocol nila, sa kanilang contact tracing, sobrang high-tech eh. Yung mga ginagawa nila, yung pag-quarantine nila ng mga players, ng mga staff, and then of course having that bubble, yung venue nila, no? Yung Florida, talagang I wish meron tayong ganyan, ganyang kalaki and ganyang ka-sophisticated na venue.
So, Coach, so far you're impressed. Any points na perhaps, maybe, di ba? Kung ano lang, improve lang ng konti, it could work also?
Well, ang nakita ko lang na ginagawa nilang ng maganda is yung number one is health protocol. I don't know kung kaya natin gawin yun kasi they test every day. They test players every day. And then meron silang bracelet. I don't know kung nakikita niyo yun. Meron silang bracelet that parang serves as contact tracing app nila. At the same time, yun din yung mga contactless parang access nila sa facilities. For example, papasok sila ng mga rooms. Diba? Di na kailangan hawakan yung mga knobs. So, i-scan lang bracelet nila. They can go in sa mga doors, mga papasok ng facilities, different facilities, restaurants. Yun na ginagamit nila. Elevators, yun din ang ginagamit nila. So, yun ang isa sa mga napansin ko na talagang very sophisticated. Pero din silang parang sa machine na nilalagay sa finger nila and then namomonitor yung temperature nila sa gabi. So, tapos naka-link yun sa isang medical doctor or health officer na pag merong halimbawang may tumaas ng temperature, naka-alarm kagad yun. So, yun yung mga little things na well, hindi lang maliit tignan pero napakamahal and kumbaga probably it's mahirap nating ma-duplicate yun, mga ganung sistema. And obviously, the mere fact that they will stay in the bubble for close to 3 months, super hirap na. Super hirap. And something na only the NBA can do.
All right, Wayla, let's get started with the NBA balita.
Yes, Riz. Ito, tomorrow na, start na ng NBA, no? The playoffs will actually start with the play-in between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trail Blazers. Kasi Portland and Memphis finished 8 and 9 sa Western Conference. So maghaharap muna sila for the 8th spot. Ang mananalo doon, kakalabanin yung number 1 sa West, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. Ang Portland, kailangan lang nila manalo ng isang beses. In the Memphis Grizzlies, they have to win twice against the Blazers para maka-advance naman doon sa regular playoffs, yung round of 8. Eto, bigyan ko lang kayo ng maikling background between the Portland and Memphis. During the season, 1-1 sila, split yung kanilang head-to-head. So, unahin ko siguro tanongin, Coach E, ano tingin mo mananalo dito between the two teams, Portland and Memphis? Anong tingin mo, prediction, and bakit?
I'm not really, hindi ako masyadong closely monitoring the NBA games, no? But from what I'm reading and based sa mga nababasa ko, naririnig ko, talagang medyo nasa pataas ang laro ng Portland, no? And of course with the play-in nga, parang they have the advantage. Alam mo naman, yung mga to beat advantage na yan, napakalaki niyan, I've been in those situations. So everything is in favor of Portland right now to get into the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Grabe, Coach E, no? Imagine yung Damian Lillard. Parang ano ba to? Naka video game mode. I was like, oh my God, crazy.
Grabe. Amazing. Yung mga nakikita ko mga shots niya. To be able to do that consistently, day in, day out, napakahirap nun. the only person that I can remember na close to what he's doing is si Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Coach, we are so grateful that you were able to spend your Saturday with us. Final message niyo po muli bago po namin kayo pakawalan kasi baka sa susunod na po natin pag-uusap, magsisimula na kayo.
Ako, maraming salamat sa pag-imbita nyo sa akin dito. It's really an honor to be invited. Alam mo naman, kayo mga tinitingala sa sports. So, sige, sana hindi itong huli. Sana next time maimbita nyo uli ako. And maraming salamat uli and more power to your show.
Alright, Coach, regards po sa inyong may bahay, sa inyo pong mga anak, maraming salamat po. Ingat po kayo palagi and we'll see you the next time. Thank you, Coach E.
Good luck.
Thank you,
Good luck, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, Coach.
Maraming salamat. That was Coach Eric Altamirano or Commissioner Altamirano for Chooks-to-go Pilipinas 3-on-3. At ngayon naman, from Coach E, we are going straight to our next bisita. Zaldi, want to introduce our guest?
Oo, syempre. Teka, hahabulin ko muna itong aking script, ha? Nabigla ako, eh.
Kasi ito talaga yung
hindi ko alam na
bisita natin na pinakaabangan. Nabitin tayo ng konti in the past 2 weeks.
Namiss na natin yan, eh. Syempre, yung si Coach RG, syempre. Oo. I-announce ko na lang. Nainip na si Jerry Ramos. Ito na. Kayo talaga, sandali lang tayo. Hindi na natin nabasa nga yung message para kay yung ni Coach Eric Altamirano, yung tawag dito,
horoscope.
Yung kanyang
horoscope.
Hindi na natin nabasa. Hindi natin nabasa. Pero anyway, dito, para dito sa ating bagong talagang pambihira natin ma-guest ito at hindi natin talaga basta-basta nakukuha. Pero ngayon, we are lucky, biglang pinagbigyan tayo. Ang ating guest ngayon, siyempre, si Coach Ryan Gregorio, Special Assistant to the SBP President, 3 times PBA champion, 3 times PBA Coach of the Year, at 4 times PBA All-Star Game Head Coach. Yan.
Hi, Coach!
Magandang hapon ulit. It's nice to be back and it's a great opportunity to be with you again.
Coach,
nahirapan kami.
2 linggo mo kaming pinasabik.
Natatapat dahil ang ganda ng mga guests ninyo. So, ready naman tayo anytime. Pero, na problema lang rin tayo the past few weeks. But again, it's just an honor to be back here again. And hindi ko lang mahabol yung bigote ni Jerry Ramos, pero yung buhok halos malapit na.
Diba?
Ajali mo ako ron, ha?
Coach,
Tama-tama nga.
we're talking about...
Tama-tama nga, Coach RG. Sige, Risa. Sige, tuloy mo.
Coach, we're talking about the NBA. And Waylan asked Coach Eric Altamirano earlier kung ano po yung mga predictions niya for, tama Waylan, for the first round. It's going to be the Grizzlies against the Blazers.
Yeah, for the play-in, Coach, tatanong namin si Coach Eric regarding the Blazers and the Grizzlies. I know, Coach, you've been following the NBA. Basketball yan Sa basketball, addict tayo dyan. Ikaw, Coach RG, anong tingin mo dito sa play-in na to? Na-mention ni Riza kanina, Damian Lillard has been playing ala Kobe Bryant. And he'll be facing rookie in Ja Morant na grabe din naman yung pinapakita ng bata. Ano tingin mo, Coach?
Ako, I've been following the bubble. I've been spending so much time staying in the wee hours of the morning just to follow dahil yung ibang games 1:30 a.m. 2:30 a.m. But I've been so intrigued dito sa Portland Trail Blazers and we've talked about the magnificence of Phoenix going 8-0 in the bubble. Unfortunately, it was not enough. And Devin Booker was simply fantastic all throughout those ball games. And we talked about also yung coming out party ni TJ Warren ng Indiana Pacers, who scored 53 points in one game. But I think nobody can match, especially the last 3 games of Damian Lillard. After that computer glitch, wherein he missed that 2 crucial free throws against the LA Clippers, he was just fantastic. He was unstoppable. He scored 61 points one game against that. He scored 53 points, then 51, if I'm not mistaken, then 61 against the Mavericks, and 42 yesterday against a very tough team in Brooklyn Nets. But I like the way it has turned out. Portland being the hero, quote-unquote, because of the way yung LA Clippers ridiculed him, specifically Damian Lillard. And now everybody's just rooting for Portland Trail Blazers. It's going to be hard for Memphis. You've mentioned it, Brother Wayne. Yung pagiging inexperienced nila, they're such a young team. Entering the bubble, they were actually 3.5 games ahead of the number 9 seed. But now they ended up at number 9, and they have to win 2 times against Portland, and Portland has to win once. But in terms of the NBA drama, I hope that Portland will make it, because it's going to be a great series against the number 1 seed LA Lakers.
Yeah, you mentioned that, Coach RG, no, yung Lakers number 1. Banggitin lang natin, mga ka-chasers, no, if Portland wins, kakalabanin nila nga yung number 1 Lakers, or kung manalo ng 2 beses ang Grizzlies against the Blazers, sila ang papasok sa first round against the Lakers. And then ang number 2 Los Angeles Clippers will be facing number 7 Dallas Mavericks, number 3 Nuggets versus number 6 Utah Jazz. Siyempre, we'll look for Jordan Clarkson here. And then number 4, the Houston Rockets versus number 5, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Reese?
All right. Wait, may singit ko lang on another level yung nakita natin. I don't know if you guys have seen it, Coach RG. The video of the Phoenix Suns starting 5, they were being introduced by their family members. It was something that was so special to me. In fact, I reposted it on my social media platform kasi it was the family who's introducing the starting 5, and I don't think they knew about it, so it was a surprise. Because come to think of it, diba, Coach, these players, chasers, you have to agree with me, being inside the bubble, we don't even know how that feels, but we can only say na mahirap yun. They miss their family and they sacrifice so much. So what can you say about this gesture, Coach RG? Napanood mo ba yun?
Oh yes, I watched it, and it was therapeutic. I mean, it's a victory of the human spirit. It is a huge sacrifice for the players, for the coaches, and also for everybody involved in the PBA, just to restart NBA basketball. And of course, they were playing without their family members. So instead of getting professionals to introduce their first 5, yung kanilang family members were the ones who did that, and goosebumps all over. I was just so ecstatic that I am into basketball also. I'm a huge NBA fan, and I hope sooner than later the PBA can also replicate it.
Yeah, ang ganda. Kasi again, if, there's story behind it, way long, di ba tama, katulad nung Fanny Devin Booker, di ba? Talagang, it's a she was a diehard Phoenix fan. And if I'm not mistaken, the coach's family, also the kids, minus the wife, who, he recently lost because, di ba, the wife got sick, and Ricky Rubio being introduced by the little one. It is so nice. And Coach RG's tama na sana magamit natin yan. So again, we're good with NBA news, guys. We're okay?
Oh, actually, Reese, pa to, mahaba. Kasi yung mga ka-chasers natin, Abak, Zaldi, and Jerry, together with our 4th ka-chaser, si Coach RG, kailangan mag-predict daw tayo kung sino tingin natin. Coach, kung sakasakali lang, and together with the ka-chasers, kung sakasakali lang, West pa lang itong pinag-uusapan natin, Lakers and Portland, how do you see this series? Jerry, ikaw, ano tingin mo?
Lakers, Portland agad. Di
Kung
pa nga
sakali.
tapos yung...
Kung sakali.
Hindi. Hindi, ako kasi let's consider na yung Portland, they're the only team na against the restart of the NBA season, ha? Di ba? Ayaw nila nung nagbotohan ng mga teams, sila ang bumoto against the restart. Pero eto sila nakikipaglaban sa playoffs, last playoff spot sa West Finals, so Western Conference, Western Conference playoffs. Kaya ako tingin ko doon ako sa dehado eh. Mas gusto ko yung Portland.
Talaga.
Parang magandang storyline kasi yung magiging takbo ng NBA if ever makapasok sila sa playoffs and then they will upset the Los Angeles Lakers.
Inaantay ni LeBron yata nanggigigil na si LeBron
Waylon, parang laban ako doon sa doon sa prediction ni Parin Jerry.
Sige, paglaban
dahil ako talaga. Dahil talaga ako Lakers ako eh. Lakers. Kasi kaya nga number 1 sila. Dahil talagang magaling sila when it comes dito sa Western Conference at syempre pa maganda yung ginagawa nitong kanilang coach ngayon na si Frank Vogel. And of course, with the help of his assistants na sila Jason Kidd at saka ito pang isa si Phil Handy. At of course, napakaganda rin ang ginagawa nitong sina LeBron James at saka si Anthony Davis. Sa tingin ko, ngayon na yung pagkakataon na makabawi itong si LeBron James kasi nung mga nakaraang conference na nag-join siya sa Lakers, may mga injuring tumama sa kanya. And let's hope na this time, kung sakaling si LeBron James ay maging healthy, dahil medyo nagkaroon na naman siya ng injury nga nitong bago matapos yung ilang game yung hindi siya naglaro dito sa mga huling laban ng Lakers dun sa itong mga nakaraang games niya. I hope na LeBron James stay healthy at maitulak niya sa championship. At saka magaganda din naman yung cast nila yung mga supporting nila na katulad sina Kyle Kuzma, sina Alex Caruso, si J.R. Smith, itong sina Danny Green. Magaganda naman yung kanilang meron isa ako ditong player na gusto ko lagpasan ng pangalan Ang pangalan kasi Kentavious Caldwell Pope. Pero siyempre maganda din suporta ito. Kaya ako ang hula ko, ito na ang season na magcha-champion ang Lakers. Although maaga pang sabihin yan. Dahil ako talaga, Lakers talaga ako.
Well, I can see Waylon already disagreeing. I don't know what Abak thinks. Abak, what do you think?
Alam nyo naman, NBA is my favorite subject. Pero tama, nabanggit ni Jerry Hoy, Mr. Suabe, na si Damian Lillard, before the restart of the NBA, he even threatened to sit out the restart. Ayaw niya maglaro. That's why bumoto nga yung Portland is one of the teams that really contested the idea of resuming the season. Well, anyway, kung ako ang Lakers ngayon, mag-aalay na ako ng itlog. Dahil ang Portland, lalabanan ko na yung number 7. Lalabanan ko na yung number 7 kesa yung number 8 na kung nandyan si Lillard, tumitira na nga sa half court, hindi ba, pumapasok pa. So if there's a team that will beat the LA Lakers this year, or teams, one of these teams is the Portland Trail Blazers.
Nice.
Riza,
okay.
dagdag ko lang. 2 words.
What?
Dame time.
Dame time! Dame time! Iba si Lillard. Okay, Coach RG.
Let's see.
The next match up. Kasi kita natin, divided, di ba? May Portland, if ever tumalon na nga tayo, di ba? Hindi na natin pinansin yung Grizzlies. Portland na to and Lakers. Next match up, Waylon.
Yes. Ang next natin, syempre, yung number 2 seed, the Los Angeles Clippers. Ang, ewan ko, ano nangyari sa Clippers dito with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They'll be facing the Dallas Mavericks starring Luka Doncic. Ikaw, Coach, ano tingin mo sa matchup na to? Ano lang Coach, note ko lang, the Clippers won 3-0 sa matchup nila during the season, including isang panalo sa restart sa bubble.
Ako, it's going to be a very entertaining basketball. There is one team, which is the LA Clippers, who's also seeded. In fact, a lot of people predict that they are going to win the Western Conference Finals because of Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and a lot of players who can complement the game of the two players. But I say that it's going to be very entertaining because of superstar wearing the Dallas Mavericks uniform and is no other than a 21-year-old phenom in Luka Doncic. He has 3 triple-double games in 8 games in the bubble. He's scoring at will, getting rebounds, passing, and in fact, he is the most entertaining ball player that I'm following all throughout these 8 games. And he is also being complemented well by Porzingis, who's averaging more than 28 points per ball game also. Unfortunately, every time he scores 30 points and above, his team is 0-4. But if it's under 30 points, his team is 4-0. So those are the things that I want to watch. From a basketball perspective, of course, you put your money with the LA Clippers. But if you want to be entertained, I'm really hoping that a fiesta atmosphere will be played because of Luka Doncic playing.
Mm-hmm. Coach, but
So,
don't you find Coach RG Kawhi entertaining also? You know, as much as he's super quiet, he's not even trying. Off the court, he seems to be the funniest guy. Nakikita mo yung pag nahahagip siya ng camera, his reactions. Kawhi is on some level. Ano ba yung ginagawa ni Kawhi Leonard?
His demeanor is really off the charts. I mean, you look at him playing basketball and he makes a big shot and what he does is simply like this.
Yeah.
Yun lang ang kanyang pinaka reaction. But when he is off the court, tama, he is very amiable. He cracks jokes and all that. But he is an epitome of an efficient basketball player. He will take good shots. He will make good basketball plays. He will make people around him better. But the most important thing is he is a winner. Can you imagine bringing the Toronto Raptors to the championship land and ultimately winning it all? So yun ang mga bagay-bagay na talagang titignan natin every time Kawhi Leonard plays.
Mm-hmm.
Kaway-kaway lang, ha?
Ganun-ganun lang, ha?
Pero hindi pinansin ni Noah one time nung ina-opera niya. Hindi siya pinansin, hindi siya nakita That is so funny. Okay, Wayland.
Yeah, yung next naman natin. Tignan natin to. Of course, eto, paborito natin. Number 6, the Utah Jazz, of course, with Jordan Clarkson, yung ating Philam. But they'll be facing the Denver Nuggets, number 3 seed yan sa West. Coach RG, what do you think?
Yung Utah kasi very packed yung kanilang backcourt complement Nandyan si Clarkson who comes off the bench. In fact, in all the games this season, he only started 1 time dahil maraming injured sa kanilang mga manlalaro. And then si Conley who was picked up from the free agency. Malaking bagay din yan because he is a two-way player. He can shoot from the outside, he can penetrate, and he can also defend. But their biggest and most celebrated player is of course si Mitchell. Yun ang kanilang inaasahang makatulong sa kanila. But on the defensive end, nandun din si Gobert. But what I like about this matchup, and you've mentioned the Denver Nuggets, it's yung galing ng kanilang malaking players, si Jokic. Mm-hmm. Yun din ang sigurado tayong magbibigay sa atin ng great basketball together with his shooter na si Murray. It's gonna be a very, very close one, but I give that edge to the Denver Nuggets. Just a slight edge because of Nikola Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Once you mentioned the Nuggets, ano tingin mo yung nagiging performance so far nung rookie nila? Si Bol, son of the late Manute Bol.
He is playing well. I think he is just too tall for the position that he plays. He is 7'2", and he plays a small position. Yeah, but the thing is, when you are that tall and you try to be fast, it's easy for the other players to just destroy you because you have a weak lower body. He has a very weak body thus far. I think that's one thing that he has developed in the off season. But definitely a big surprise. So we all know his father Manute Ball, 7'7", who does nothing but just stand up and block shots.
Right.
But ito, medyo mas may athleticism to as far as Shaquille O'Neal is concerned. This guy is legit. He's gonna be a good NBA player in the future.
Jerry.
Wait, may
Yeah.
dagdag lang ako yung about the Utah Jazz. Remember, etong team na to almost imploded before mag-shutdown yung NBA because nagkaroon ng konting problema between Gobert and Kim Mitchell dahil nga nag-positive tong si Gobert and nahawa niya yung ibang mga teammates niya, including Mitchell. So, medyo nagkaroon ng konting clash yan eh. Good thing, medyo napag-usapan nila yan and they're back in business dito sa Western Conference.
Okay. Tuloy natin, Reese. Ito, last matchup lang. During the off-season, may nangyaring trade, nagpalitan ng players. The Houston Rockets will be facing the OKC Thunder. Dating point guard ng Houston, si Chris Paul, ngayon nasa OKC na. So, Coach, medyo dikit ng laban na to. Nanalo ang Thunder sa head-to-head nila in the regular season, 2-1. Pero anong tingin mo?
The problem really is itong Rockets. You look at how they did in the offseason. They got Russell Westbrook and they're hoping that he can be another point of attack for the Houston Rockets. So they traded Capella, who is their legit big man, just to make sure that Capella will not plug the paint and that is going to be a clear penetrating space for Westbrook. Even if they lost what you call yung vertical spacing dahil talagang grabe mag-alley-oop itong si Capella. But they really prepared that team because of the arrival of Westbrook. Unfortunately, in the last 2 games, Westbrook was not able to play for Houston because he hurt his leg. So yun ngayon ang problema. They're not coming in with a full complement of a complete roster. It's just gonna be Harden. If you guard Harden, usually in the playoffs, nag-iiba yung kanyang laro. Wala siya ngayong katulong na si Westbrook. Now, you go with the Thunder. Ang maganda rito is they're not relying on one player alone. Yes, Chris Paul is definitely their superstar. But there are a lot of upcoming players who are really playing so well. And that is why a lot of people are saying that dahil maraming pieces ang nawala rito sa Oklahoma, ang coach of the year dapat is Billy Donovan because of the way he transformed this team. So I look at this matchup because of the injury-laden Houston Rockets. I give the advantage to Oklahoma.
All right.
Eto, after the West, punta tayo ng East. Fast break daw tayo. Siyempre, the number one team, not just in the East, but also the entire NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks, will be facing number 8, Orlando Magic. Note lang, during the regular season, the sweep ng Bucks ang Orlando, 4-0. Coach RG, what do you think? Ano ba to? Another sweep?
Forget about the series. It's gonna be a huge surprise, and Magic should celebrate if they win one quarter.
Ang lupit mo naman.
Grabe ka. Magagalit sa'yo, coach.
Manalo ng isa yan, ha?
Oo. Baka mamaya, manalo ng isa yan, ha?
Tandaan kita,
Lagot
coach,
ka.
ha?
One quarter, they should celebrate.
One quarter lang, ha?
Pinaspasan mo agad, coach, ha? O, ito naman, of course, the number 2 seed, the defending champion Toronto Raptors, will face the Brooklyn Nets. Ito, walang superstars ang Nets, pero ano nakikita mo, coach?
Off-season, you look at the roster of the Nets and the way they built up during the off-season. You talk about Durant, you talk about Kyrie Irving. Unfortunately, they're not coming. So Raptors, even if they lost Kawhi Leonard, Lowry is fantastic. Gasol is playing good basketball. Fred VanVleet is also coming up and playing as a great backcourt complement to Lowry. It's gonna be maximum 5 games, 4-1 for the Raptors.
Yan.
Wow.
Galing.
Eto.
Ibang klase.
Yan.
Eto. Number 3.
Bitaw mo, coach.
Oo.
The Boston Celtics. will be facing number. Now,
Ba't kinakadindi mo?
will be facing yung number 6, the Philadelphia 76ers. Note lang din, Coach, yung Philadelphia will be without Ben Simmons na nagkaroon ng surgery.
Yeah, injury.
Tapos issue din na, I think, issue din ngayon kay Joel Embiid, yung kanyang foot injury. So they'll be facing a healthy, really improved Boston Celtics under Coach Brad Stevens. Ano tingin mo, Coach RG?
Ayusin mo, Coach, ha?
Gandahan mo yan.
Of the Celtics because I am NBA fantastic basketball way back. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Cooper, James Worthy. So when I talk about the teams that I hate in the NBA, it's gotta be Boston Celtics, but not anymore because of the way they play good basketball.
Akala ko, no?
I think they're a much better team than what they were last season. Tatum is playing good basketball, and of course, they have a great tactician in Brad Stevens. They're gonna win, and they're definitely, it's gonna be an easy ride for them in the first round because the Sixers are injury laden. There's no Simmons. It's gonna be a walk along the park.
Doon lang pala sa coach dahil doon sa maraming injury doon sa kalaban ng ng Celtics. Kaya pala nalo, coach, gano'n?
Yun lang. But pag ito umabot ng second round, pwede na mag-celebrate si Waylon. It's like winning a
Meron pang isa dyan. Dalawa yan.
Ito, syempre, last but not the least, number 4, Indiana Pacers against number 5, Miami Heat. Kanina, naglaro ang Indiana
yan, Coach.
Miami. Unfortunately, the injuries ng inaasahan ng Miami Heat, si Derek Jones Jr., na nagkaroon ng, parang nabangga siya and he fell. In-stretcher siya palabas ng venue. But good news sa NBA fans, ang report sa Miami is wala naman serious injury. Although he'll undergo more MRI or more tests. Pero take note, yung Miami, galing na yan sa injury with Jimmy Butler and si Goran Dragic. So Coach Eric Spoelstra will be talagang hard-pressed to, lead this team to the second round against this very tough team, Indiana Pacers. Coach, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Heat, because of Eric Spoelstra, of course, among us Filipinos, we're rooting for that team because he's one of our own. But you take a look at itong Pacers ngayon and you will be surprised with the way they're playing. Without Sabonis, TJ Warren really came out playing great basketball here in the bubble. But I think in the first round, Butler is playing well now. Of course, a lot of adjustments for him because he's coming off an injury. Dragic will be great. But I'm telling you, I'm watching this team because of 2 players, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. You watch them and you will see they don't even look like basketball players, but they really can shoot from the outside. If they are going to go to the next level, it's because of these 2 white men.
Correct.
All right. So again, sa mga exciting na NBA games na talagang painit ng painit pa, you guys can catch those on Signal. We have, of course, HD, channel 260 and channel 96 for standard definition. At syempre, nandyan din ang mga games natin on TV5, on One Sports. So lahat tayo nakatutok. Coach, we'll jump into another topic. Thank you, Waylon, for leading us with the NBA Balita. The recent explosion in Beirut, in Lebanon, which really, was devastating. A lot of lives were lost, hundreds already and counting. Thousands are injured. Thousands also lost, their homes. And the city and the country is still, kumbaga, trying to recover from this. We understand that SVP, Emeritus Chairman, Manny V. Pangilinan, issued a statement. Can you please, Coach, enlighten, do the honors in reading to us yung naging statement po ni MVP?
Well, yes, we were so shocked and together with the rest of the world with the explosion that happened. And malaki kasi yung FIBA Asia office in Beirut, Lebanon. In fact, yung highest ranking FIBA official na si Hagop is stationed in Lebanon. So it was just a spirit of being one big family in the sport of basketball that our chairman emeritus, Manny V. Pangilinan, sent his well wishes and warm regards to the people in Beirut, the Lebanese here. Even our SBP president, Boss Alpandido, came up with a statement just to make sure and hoping that they will be able to bounce back from this harrowing experience. We don't want to see something like this happen, and especially because it's negligence on the part of some of the government officials in Beirut, Lebanon. And if I'm not mistaken, most of them have resigned. And we just hope and pray na sana makabalik back to normal itong Lebanon. No longer war-torn, but definitely peace-loving.
Right. Zaldi actually has the statement from MVP. Zaldi?
Okay, sige. I'm going to read this, Risa. Sabi ni MVP, pinadala niya, it was with great sadness when I learned about the most regretful explosion in the port of Beirut. I joined the people of your city and the people of Lebanon in their hour of grief and suffering, and send to them our prayers and our thoughts, that Beirut can recover quickly and fully from the unfortunate disaster. Deepest sentiments and all good wishes. Yan ang statement ni Manny V. Pangilinan. Yan.
And even the likes, coach of Jimmy Alapag, who's working with FIBA, di ba? May mga naging kaibigan na rin siya in the many years that he's competing. He's also sending out, of course, itong kanyang pakikiramay sa Lebanon. May singit ko na lang din because we're on this in this kind of like mood. Locally, we also lost family in the PBA. Nabalitaan niyo ba yung mga familiar faces natin from Barangay Ginebra, si Namang June, and also from the NLEX Road Warriors, si Kuya Marcy. So our deepest condolences to their family also. And it's very sad because these people, we see them all the time in the game. They're familiar, friendly faces. Yung mga fans, hindi nila yan masyado sigurong nakikita, pero tayo nararamdaman natin sila. And it's just so sad kasi in the middle of pandemic, hindi man lang tayo nakapagpasalamat for what they've done for the players, for the team, and also for us. Ayun na nga, very unfortunate yung mga pangyayari na yon. Coach, you want to send out message also to their families?
Yes, deepest condolences to the loved ones of yung staple ng PBA. They will definitely be missed.
Alright. Going back, Coach, meron po bang balita po sa, again, FIBA Asia? Again, from the explosion, any updates po?
Well, ngayon, in fact, itong SBP and together with FIBA, we've launched a strong program, yung Women in Basketball. So one thing that we're doing right now with Coach John Wichiko as head of our SBP Academy for Coaches is by invitation, nag-i-invite sila ng mga big-time coaches from the US and doing webinar. So yesterday, we were able to attract at least 245 young coaches in the Philippines na kasama doon sa webinar na yun. I think there's another one happening today and then tomorrow. And another thing is there's also a program about women referees, all under that umbrella program of FIBA na Women in Basketball. So that is what is keeping us busy right now. A lot of time and the effort is being rendered just to make sure that hindi lang lalaki ang tinatap ng SBP to be basketball officials, basketball coaches, basketball referees, pati na rin yung mga babae. And aside from that, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ating Gilas Pilipinas Men's Program under Project Director, Program Director, Coach Tab Baldwin. We're now trying to find ways to make our players active as a collective unit. Individually, they've been practicing. And aside from that, we're also looking for yung ating nationalized player. It is also being discussed at this point. And even if, again, we stop a little bit because of MECQ, the preparations continue. Yung mind wrestling is also happening. So hopefully we can come up with the best plan.
Mm. So, Coach RG, itong nangyaring unfortunate incident dito sa Beirut, Lebanon. Sarado ngayon yung office doon. Ito bang pagkasara ng opisina doon sa Lebanon dahil yan ang FIBA Asia Regional Office. Makaka-apekto ba ito doon sa plano o programa ng FIBA Asia? Dagdag pa natin itong pandemic.
Hindi naman nararamdaman because we also have a direct line sa FIBA Geneva in our head office in Switzerland. So wala naman tayong problema pagdating nuances ng key players all over the world. Ang number 4 doon is our very own RJ Abarientos. Top 4 in the hundreds of games that were played the past year. So nakarating naman sa atin yung correspondence na yon. So that means everything that is supposed to reach us are reaching us.
All right, Coach RG, before we let you go, it was very interesting that you mentioned these programs that we have for women, SVPs doing all these efforts. Sa mga nagtatanong po kung paano ba sila makaka-sign up, di ba? Whether they're interested in coaching or perhaps, di ba, mga aspiring po nating players, paano po?
Yes, we will come up with yung mga press releases in order for you to have an opportunity to join. I think it's a wonderful program for SPP. And hats off to Coach Young with Chico, who is really trailblazing and still finding ways for us to be relevant all throughout this pandemic. So we can obviously get in touch with the federation, although sarado rin yung main office natin ngayon in Ultra. But in the next few days, we will come up again with press releases, contact numbers that you can connect with, just to make sure that your dream will still be alive to be part of basketball here in the Philippines.
Ayun. All right. Before we pause for a break, Zaldi?
Babasahin ko sana yung horoscope ni Coach Ryan. Ni Coach Ryan, ang problema, I think I don't have copy. Wala yata akong kopya. Tinitingnan ko yung ko, wala
Tingnan mo na lang yung...
Tingnan ko lang yung palad mo, Coach. Yan. Tingnan ko lang, Coach.
Masipag.
Ayon dito sa guhit ng palad mo, makakagat ka ng aso. Makakagat ka daw ng aso.
Wag naman.
Nakagat ka na ba ng aso? Nakagat ka na ba ng aso, Coach?
Alam mo, sa totoo lang yan ang phobia ko Mga aso, but I am going through therapy right now. Nag-alaga kami ng aso. Maliit lang naman. Unti-unti bumabalik na ang pananalig at paniniwala ko sa man's best friend.
Yung kaya nga ikaw, mag-iingat ka, Coach, dahil baka makagat ka ng aso. Okay. Hindi ka pa kasi nakakagat, kaya mag-iingat ka. Ngayon, nandito na yung horoscope mo yata. Yan. Nakuha ko na, finally. Dumating na sa akin. Ipinadala pa sa akin. Galing sariwang-sariwa pa ito. Galing sa spin. Okay. Ito, Coach, pakinggan mo maigi, babagalan ko. Maglaan ng sapat na panahon sa pahinga. Yan. Kasi masyadong masipag ka. Kaya kailangan magpahinga ka daw. Ang pakikipagkaibigan sa mga tao ng iba't ibang grupo ay makakaapekto sa iyong mga gawain. Katulad ng ginagawa namin sa iyo ngayon. Nakakaabala ba kami? Thank you, Coach. Okay, kumuha ng natatanging approach sa mga business offers sa iyo. Yun, bagong approach daw. Makakaapekto ito sa iyong hinaharap. Ang mga nagsisilbing hadlang sa iyong kinabukasan ay ang mga hadlang na nililikha mo sa iyong isipan. Ayan. Masyado kaya tang nag-i-imagine, Coach. Huwag ka daw masyado mag-i-imagine.
Maraming salamat.
Yan ang horoscope ni Coach.
Pinoprocess yung lahat ng sinabi mo sa akin. Pero ako'y natutuwa dahil yung huling nakasama kita rito, hindi ko maintindihan yung sinasabi mo dahil mahina yung wifi mo. Pero ngayon,
yung wifi ko.
Talaga, ang technology.
Pero ngayon, malinaw na.
Malinaw na.
Kaya, Coach, sabi ko sa iyo, Nandiyan sa guhit ng palad mo, makakagat ka ng aso. Kaya mag-iingat ka dahil baka makagat ka ng aso.
Time frame.
Kailangan
Time frame yun, no? Time frame. O sa ngayong araw lang.
Pagkatapos yan, wala na.
Okay, bukas wala na.
Tapos na pagkatapos.
Your final message for basketball fans that are watching us before we let you go?
Yes, again, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat, yung mga ka-chasers natin dito. It's always a blast every time I join you. And buti na lang handa tayo sa NBA dahil ang dami katanungan tungkol sa NBA. But aside from that, really, I am hoping and praying na sana mag-restart na rin ang PBA. That is something that I've been praying for. Of course, we're not gonna compromise safety and good health of the people involved. But sana naman dahil itong pandemyang ito, kung ano-ano na naiisip natin, ano-ano na ginagawa natin, let's give everybody an opportunity to go back to something that we love. This is definitely part of our everyday life, basketball, and I hope PBA and yung 3x3 ng PBA, malapit na rin yan at sana maging successful din yung ating pamamalakad doon.
Yan. And that's why we always love to have you on the show because even if it's last minute, you always give us the most insightful thoughts and you always deliver. Thank you, Coach Ryan Gregorio. Maraming salamat po. And we hope to see you again next time. Thank you so much.
See you again.
Bye.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, we'll be taking a very quick break. When we come back, makakasama natin ang idol nating si Roger Casugay. Kaya wag po kayong aalis. Magbabalik po ang The Chasedown.
The Chasedown.
to the Chasedown. Medyo kumukulimlim na dito sa area where I'm from in Mandaluyong. I hope yung mga nanonood sa atin, meron silang mga kape or meron silang pwedeng, di ba, para medyo mas tayo, magising-gising kasi ang sarap talaga mag-siesta ngayon. Pero yung susunod nating bisita, aba, talaga namang binigyan tayo ng mga napakagagandang balita. Like what I said earlier, he's like a ray of sunshine in so many gloomy days na talagang naghahanap tayo ng good news. O ito na yung good news. Very recently, alam niyo ba mga ka-chasers, he was given the International Fair Play Award at kauna-unahang Pilipino yan to receive this award. And we are so happy to have him on the show. And we are so delighted to introduce to everyone our 2019 Southeast Asian Games gold medalist, our star surfer mula sa San Fernando, La Union, Roger Casugay. Kapogi naman ni Roger. How are you?
Hello po. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Okay naman po. Actually, katatapos lang nag-bike. So, yun.
Oh!
Okay naman.
Nag-bike naman!
Opo. Normally, sir, pag walang alon or maliit yung alon, nagbabike talaga. Para mas active pa rin. Yun po.
Roger, alam mo, ang tagal ka namin inantay na ma-guest dito sa The Chasedown since siyempre nga nung last year. So thank you in advance for joining us. So currently, ngayon, nag-usap tayo, nasa La Union ka ba ngayon?
Yes po, ngayon nasa La Union po ako. Wala pa naman pong planong lumabas ng bansa. Kasi ngayon, mahirap, baka mamaya hindi na tayo makabalik. So yun.
Ang alam ko, you're one of the instructors, di ba? Diyan sa may San Juan, na
Yes,
surfing school. Ngayon, walang masyadong, of course, bawal ang turista. Hindi pa tayo pwede makabalik dun sa dati nating dami ng population na bumibisita sa San Juan. Kamusta kayo dyan? Kamusta ang quarantine and lockdown?
Ngayon po okay naman. Kaso medyo mahirap lang sa amin kasi yun nga, walang masyadong kita. Pero ginagawan pa rin ng paraan para meron kaming kahit pa paanong konting kita tapos may pakain pa rin sa mga pamilya-pamilya. So, yun. Okay naman po.
Okay, mga ka-chasers, who's first?
Ma'am. Roger, ano
Yes,
naman
sir.
ang naisip mo ibang pagkakitaan kung walang alon, meaning walang surfer?
Ngayon po, nagba-buy and sell. For
Yan.
example po, yung mga parts ng bike, gano'n, benta-benta, ganito. Minsan panalo, minsan talo, pero okay lang. At least, meron pa rin kahit pa paano.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yun po.
Wala ba talaga tao ngayon dyan sa LU? Wala bang ano ngayon dyan?
Normally, may mga ibang mukha sa LU din na hindi ko pa nakikita kasi ang tingin ko may mga na-lockdown dito na taga Manila. So, meron pa rin, kahit pa paano po, meron pa rin. Meron pa rin.
Oh, okay. Sana bumalik na ang alon at bumaba ng mga community quarantine orders natin para
Oo nga po, sir.
mabuhay ulit yan. LU dyan.
Yes po, sir. Sana.
Okay.
Roger, yeah.
Salamat po sa
Next
question,
question lang. Interesado
Yes,
lang ako malaman, Roger, meron pa bang remaining events either locally or internationally when it comes to surfing?
I think sa ibang bansa, sir, meron. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, lahat stop. Kasi nga, ngayon nga, dito sa pangyayari ngayon, sa ibang bansa, continue pa rin sila nagko-com, sir, pero for safety lang sa lahat, ayaw naman na may maperwisyo. So, mas okay ngayon na walang event para lahat safe.
Wala ka bang plano na, of course, medyo mahirap kung magta-travel, pero ikaw ba, hindi mo naisip na sumali?
Ngayon, sir, wala pa po sa listahan yan ngayon, sir, kasi ang hirap ng buhay ngayon.
Okay.
Tsaka, Negative tayo dyan ngayon. For the
Pero,
whole
Roger,
year.
kami,
Wala,
nahirapan naman sa view mo ng cellphone. Pwede i-landscape mo ba para makita ka namin ang
Sorry.
kagwapuhan mo?
Yeah, sorry
It's okay. Ayan. I-ano mo ba? I-side para
sige po.
humaba.
Ah.
Landscape. Yan.
Horizon.
Kapaganda ba?
Yeah.
Ayun.
Yan.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry, hindi ko lang.
Go ahead.
Yes po.
Yan.
Yes po. Yes po.
Wow! Ayos. Oh. Okay. Bago sa'yo itong tanong, bigyan ko lang ng konti. Itong si Barry Cobartan, itang modern Olympics. After 776 BC ay ito ni Baron Pierre de Coubertin. Isang France ito, yung modern Olympics. Tinatawag ng father of si Baron Pierre de Coubertin. Isa siyang Pranses. Ngayon, anong mo noong ikaw ay ma-award na nitong Act of Play Award
Una po sa lahat,
ng International Fair Play
pasasalamat po, tsaka malaking karangalan
Committee.
yan para sa atin, sa mga kababayan natin na Pilipino.
Bilang isang
Hindi ko po in-expect yun. Kasi nga,
na-award
normally ngayon,
ng klaseng-
nakafocus na lahat. Nakafocus ako sa training, tsaka
alam mo
sa mga gantong mga activities ngayon. Hindi ko in-expect na may ganito palang may isang lalabas na wow.
ano
Meron
masasabi
pa pala
mo?
akong matatanggap na isa pang award. So, hindi ko po in-expect yun.
So, ano nangyayari noong Southeast Asian Games na isinalba mo yung Indonesian server?
Well, that time po, kasi start pa lang nung hit namin, yung time kasi nung event is mga 25 minutes, tapos yun nga, in 6 minutes nakakuha na ako ng mga ilang alon, tapos may score na ako ng 9 point something, tapos siya wala pa lang, so nakakuha siya ng first wave niya. So that time inabutan siya ng alon na swell. So medyo malalaki kasi that time yung alon kasi nga may bagyo. Tapos yun, nung time na yun, naabutan siya ng wave na bumaba siya sa board niya, naputol yung tali ng board niya. And then, sinusubukan niyang makabalik sa shoreline. Well, on that time, it's my time ko na para makakuha ng mas matataas na score kasi nga, yun nga, kailangan niyang kunin yung backup board niya to shoreline. Kasi wala kaming caddy that time, sir. Yung caddy kasi is, yun yung magbibigay, may extra board ka doon na pwede kang pumalit anytime. Kung anumang klaseng time or klaseng feeling mo sa board, pwede mong palit. That time, wala kaming caddy. So, napuputol yung leash niya. Kailangan niyang bumalik sa shoreline. Pero hindi siya makabalik kasi nga, malakas yung current. So, nakita nila na medyo malayo na siya. At ako yung pinakamalapit sa kanya. So, that time, hinold yung whole event and then sinabi na, oh, Roger, can you go near me just ask me to calm him down? And then, pumunta po ako doon. And then, that time, nandun na po ako. So, kasi that time, sobrang laki ng alon. Ang hirap lusungan. Tsaka mahirap makapasok yung mga rescuer. So, yun, ako yung pinakamalapit sa kanya. So, ako po yung kumuha. Well, sinabi naman sa tower na hinold mo na yung event. So, kailangan ko siyang puntaan. So, yun.
And in the longboard, ang ganda nung
Maganda
video
yata.
na yun, no? Abak, you saw it, yung dalawa sila nag-emerge, di ba? It's so nice.
Opo, tandem. Tandem po yung tawag doon, ma'am. Opo.
Are you friends? Are you friends now with him, Roger? Nakakausap mo ba siya?
Opo, a good friend ko na long time. Mga kaibigan ko na matagal yun. Si Mencios.
Okay. Next. Who's next?
Roger,
Jerry.
come in.
Yes po, sir.
Roger, come in.
Jerry.
Roger, nabanggit mo nga, kaibigan mo yung Indonesian surfer, si Arif, no? Nur Hidayat.
Yes po. Yes po.
Itong time ng pandemic ba, nagkakamustahan kayo? Especially,
Oo
ang
po.
taas din ng kaso sa Indonesia.
Opo.
Oo. Kumusta naman siya ron?
Okay naman sila, sir. Ngayon may competition natin sila ata ngayon sa Indo, so local competition. So, okay naman sila. Okay naman sila dun, sir. Yung community naman ng surfing nila is continue pa rin yung training nila, ganyan. Dito kasi sa atin walang alon, kaya hindi kami
Kahit na
makatraining. Ano po yun, sir?
Ibig sabihin, kahit may pandemya, tuloy-tuloy yung training nila sa Indonesia?
Opo ata, sir. Kasi dito sa amin, continue din naman yung training namin, kaso wala lang surf. Kasi walang alon.
Mm-hmm.
Yan mo, Roger, magpapadala kami ng alon dyan.
Sige, sir. Please.
Mga 10.
Mga 10 pwede na, sir.
Drum.
Pwede na.
Papagrab namin.
Okay po, sige po. Sige po.
Abak,
Sige, thank you, Riz.
are you good? Well, do you have any more questions for Roger? Alright, Roger, alam mo, kami talagang proud na proud dun sa nakuha mo na achievement. Parang parang patunay talaga na sa sports, di ba may kasabihan tayo, it doesn't only build our character, it reveals the character na meron tayo, and magandang kumbaga naibahagi mo tong lesson na to sa mga nanonood sa atin, di ba? Sa mga nag-admire sa'yo, mga bata, ang daming nagpapaturo sa iyo diyan. Anong mensahe mo sa mga aspiring natin na mga surfers? Kasi lumalaki na rin yung community, hindi lang diyan sa San Juan, hindi lang diyan
Yes
sa May
po.
La Union, meron din tayo sa May Siargao. Anong mensahe mo sa kanila?
Ang masasabi ko lang sa mga gustong mag-surf at sa mga surfer, basta keep active, kumain ng tama, matulog ng tama, at saka kailangan pa natin mag-workout, at saka kumain ng tama, and then lagi lang tayong magdadasal para laging pasalamatan yung nasa taas.
May mga babatiin ka ba? Yung fans mo, alam mo naman si Riz, si Mama Riz, binabati ka niya. So, yung mga nakatutok sa atin sa Maui and Sons, yan, hello sa kanila. May mga babatiin ka ba?
Wala na po. Okay lang.
Congratulations. Roger, maraming salamat, and mabuhay ka at ikamusta mo kami sa ating surfing community dyan sa May La Union, and hopefully
Yes po,
when the
ma'am.
lockdown is over, magkita-kita tayo ulit dyan.
Yes po, ma'am. For sure. Mag-surf po kayo.
Oo, next time. Kasi ako team Pampang puro lang ako sa may buhanginan. Hindi ako nakakarating.
Okay lang yan, ma'am. Mag-surf ka sa Pampang.
Ang cool dude.
Yes, sir.
Good vibes lang.
Pero,
Good vibes lang.
Teresa, Jer, yung beach, pati sa Pampang, tinatabo yung tubig dagat.
Para sure na mabasa siya, sir.
Ito.
Oh, thank you.
Buhos.
Roger, maraming salamat. Regards din sa
Maraming
family
salamat
mo.
po.
Kay Lisa,
Maraming
hello.
salamat din po.
Thank you. Okay.
God bless
Bye-bye.
po.
Salamat.
Thank you for having me. Sige po. Thank you po.
Ayan. Talagang idol natin yan, si Casugay. Alam niyo guys,
Risa.
may share ko lang sa La Union. Oh, go ahead, Waylan.
Hindi ako naniniwalang walang alon dun. Parang nasa tubig si Roger, ayaw lang sabihin.
Oo, nahilo ko eh.
Nahilo.
You were saying,
No, but you know, in La Union,
Nagano eh.
times that I visited La Union, si Roger is the same Roger na sinasabi nila before na nag-instruct, diba? Naglalakad-lakad lang doon. He doesn't mind. People just recognize him now for what he did, and that's when you would know, oh, si Roger pala nandun. So dami nagpapapicture sa kanya. Siya yung nahihiya. So that's how he's always been. But again, with the kind of athlete that he's shown everybody in the whole world, talagang nakakatabang puso, 'di ba? Para sa ating mga Pinoy. It's amazing. I miss San Juan. All right, we're going straight to our writer's block. We still have time. Paspasan natin to kasi napakarami ring balita. By writer's block, Wayland's first and then.
yeah, Riza, natatawa lang ako kasi na-mention mo si Roger eh. Parang si Jerry Ramos, si Mr. Suabe pala yun, no? O, kita mo? Ganun lang. Pero daming nakakakilala dyan, si Mr. Suabe. Ito, sa contribution to sa ating writer's block, na-guest natin recently, James De Los Santos, ang ating karate veteran, nag-uwi ng kanyang pang-apat na gold medal sa isang competition na naman online. Kailan lang nag-improve yung world ranking niya sa IKATA from number 3, he jumped to number 2. Ngayon naman, nag-uwi ng kanyang pang-apat na gold medal after niyang talunin world number 1, Eduardo Garcia ng Portugal. Tinalo niya ito with a score of 25 points as against the Garcia's 24.9 points para may uwi ni De Los Santos ang Athletes E-Tournament. Ito, ang maganda rito kay James na former national team member, ang sabi niya, ang goal niya is to reach number 1. Although malayo yung kanilang gap ni Eduardo Garcia ng Portugal, isang halimbawa ito for winning his 4th gold medal na talagang meron siyang target, meron siyang aim, meron siyang ambition to get to that level na talagang siguro wala pa in the sports of karate, walang nakakarating even on online na number 1. So maganda kay James, tuloy-tuloy yung competitions niya even with the pandemic. So congratulations, Idol James. More medals to win for you. Pagdadasal ka namin palagi sa mga future tournaments mo.
Yan, tama. Good job, James. Thank you, Wayland. Abak?
Yes, ma'am. Ako, ang writer's block ko is about Heidelin Diaz. It's 4 years ago, last week, when she won the silver medal in the Rio Olympics.
Right.
And nakausap natin siya. She's in Kuala Lumpur now. And as usual, medyo yung disappointment nandun, pero medyo umuhupa na yan dahil she's looking forward to the next Olympics. Pinalad naman tayo na nakubera natin siya sa Rio during the Olympics, and we were witness to that historic moment. Ang ano lang ni Heidelin is sana matuloy itong 2021 July Tokyo Olympics. Otherwise, she's already 29. And she can afford to wait for the Paris Olympics in 2024. Medyo at 33, hindi na siguro masyado pang Olympic level lang. It's not I'm not discounting the possibility, pero time will be against her. So ang pinagdadasal ngayon ni Heidelin is patuloy lang siya sa ensayo, injury-free, and matuloy sa July ang Olympics.
You know, as we celebrate Heidelin's again silver medal performance that's just as golden to us 4 years ago, imagine niyo dapat ngayon Olympics na rin, 'di ba? And meron yang mga videos akong nakikita on social media. It's like they sent off the fireworks in Japan to still kind of like celebrate, 'di ba? Itong dapat sana naging Olympics. So we're still very hopeful on that. All right, Gary.
Yes, ako hindi naman atleta yung writer's block ko, but isa siya sa longest serving personality sa Barangay Nebra. Nabanggit mo
Yes.
nga, Reza, kanina,
Mhm.
si Rafael Becerra, otherwise known as Mang Jun.
Manggol.
He passed
Mhm.
away last week due to complications sa diabetic. He was 67 years old and nag-serve siya as masyur ng Ginebra franchise for 37 years. So
Wow.
nauna pa siya kina Senator Robert Jaworski sa Ginebra. Nandun na siya bago pa sila dumating. Naabutan niya sila Dondon Ampalayo, sila Chito Loizaga, Dante Gonzalgo, hanggang dumating na nga dito kina L.A. Tenor, Scottie Thompson, Greg Slaughter, no? So, yun lang, parang mini tribute lang kay Mang Jun, no? Lagi yan sa press room, pag ano, pumapasok, magdadala ng itlog,
Merienda.
di ba? Yes.
Oo.
O minsan, pag ano, mamasahihin ka, yan, ganyan kabait yan si Mang Jun. Kaya
Ako,
mamimiss natin siya. Condolences.
Yes, condolences sa kanyang pamilya. Ako, Jerry, alam mo, fond memory ko sa kanya kasi lagi tayo nakikihingi ng merienda sa Ginebra Dugout kasi masarap ang merienda
Yes,
nila.
yes.
Meron silang lumpiang toge,
Naku,
ganyan, or
So,
dinuguan.
tanggol.
Ay, si Mang Jun ang mag-o-offer sa akin. Alam niya kapag may
Yes.
dinugo, aalokin niya na yun si Riza. Hindi ako tumatanggi doon. So, ang ating, we have good memories of Mang Jun. Di ba?
Ay, sa tagal-
He's one person that when you think of, makes you smile. Di ba? So,
Sa tagal nga,
that's how we will remember him. And also, again, ang ating pakikiramay kay Kuya Mar, sa pamilya din ni Kuya Marcy naman din ng NLEX Road Warriors.
Yes. So, tama.
at sa tagal nga
Oh,
na yata ni Mang Jun dyan sa Ginebra, di ba, parang nagkaroon pa nga ng ano yan, yung may commercial na base kay Mang Jun. Yung Latunde niya pa, di ba? Latunde niya, panahon nila Honeyboy Palangka. Yun, yung panahon na yun.
Alright,
Nasa ano pa yun, ang long street. Kaya po.
Your final thoughts, guys, about today's episode. Ako, I have to say, again, I'm very optimistic that we can start off something in basketball-wise, like the Chooks-to-go Pilipinas. We wish them all the best. It was so nice also to talk to Coach Ryan at naibahagi, di ba, ng Pilipinas yung pakikiramay natin sa mga kapatid natin, kasamahan natin sa basketball in Beirut, Lebanon. And it was also very inspiring, as always, to know and to speak to someone like Roger Casugay, who's continuously giving us so much pride and honor. Kayo guys, what's your favorite sa show?
Ako,
Wayland.
favorite ko, Batian Portion.
Bilisan mo,
Belated happy birthday.
babati ako.
Belated
Go,
happy
go.
birthday. Former RFM team manager Elmer Yanga.
Boss.
Tapos
Hoy, boss.
pabati kina Direk Christian Encarnacion, Direk Mel, Direk AB,
Hoy, boss.
at kay Mike Santillan.
Yan!
Boss.
Miss na natin sila, namimiss ko na sila. Si Ma'am, din
Oo
ha,
nga
si
eh.
Ate Lina, binabati ko din. Thank you, Ma'am.
Babati na din
Risa,
ako.
ito, quick bati lang. Happy birthday. Sinention mo na, Jerry Cadina, Tito Talaw, Doc Ivy Bautista ng Tierra Firma, Sarge
Hello,
Alonso, Dati
Doc.
San Miguel, Sasa Maramba, Sir Morris Berta ng Smart, Bernadette Bawi, Raywell Asia, Mark Zambrano, George Santiago,
Uy,
Jaifer
Mark.
Aldo, dating Signa, Sir Armin, Sir Serbial,
Si Sir Arvin.
si Kia Birin, Bong Lozada ng Inquirer, Tita
Uy,
Evelyn Lee,
Bong!
O, sige ako.
yes, si former MB writer Ina Cabresa at si May Valencia. Binabati ko rin, hello sa classmate ko sa PCU, nanonood palagi yun, Ginger Capiral at yung asawa niya Paula at anak niya Luke Luis and daughter Livia. Hello sa inyo.
Ako, birthday din, birthday. Babati ako ng mga birthday. Una-una, August 12, si Kuya Doming at saka yung kapatid ko na si Ed. August 13, si Kuya Will, mga pinsang buko yan. At August 14 naman, birthday din, happy birthday ng isang kabarkada natin na si Willie Ambrosio noong August 14. Kaibigan natin yan at isang quiz boy din yan. Panahon ng IQ 7. Happy birthday sa inyong lahat.
Yan.
Papatiin ko na rin yung mga in-laws ko. Nanonood pala yan. Signal, Kuambira, Catanduanes.
Yun.
Mama, Papa, Glenn, Rene, mga tauhan ninyo sa Teresio Hardware, sa Pioneer Grocery, tsaka sa
Yun.
Citizen Drug 2. Mga taga-Birak, Katanduanes, kamusta kayo lahat yan? Pasarap
Yung
mag-surf
layo,
dyan.
Nakarating
Layo.
tayo doon. Hello sa nila. Waylon.
Pupunta si Kapu.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Habol ko lang, from New Era, Denver Dave Torrecampo and Dennis Louis Clemente Jeronimo. Hello sa inyo, guys.
Ayan. So nabanggit. Oh, okay, Jerry, go ahead.
Habol pa, Encarnacion family sa Antipolo and Batangas. Hello.
Wow! Ang dami natin
Wow!
kasama. From Buenos,
Oh, tsaka
from Bataan, from...
si Coach Buboy Fernandez. Next week daw, guest.
Yun!
Buboy, ah.
Nalalakad
Linggo ka.
Buboy next week. Mandagan.
Well, you know, this only proves na kahit nasaan kayo sa Pilipinas, you can watch the Chasedown and all your favorite shows through Signal Play app. So kung wala pa kayong Signal Play app, it's time to get one now. Just download it. Go to the App Store. You can use your iOS or Android. And then after nyan, syempre, you'll be directed to the homepage. You'll sign up with your details and then you'll get the activation link. Kapag nailagay nyo na yung activation link ninyo, ay pwede na kayo makapanood ng inyong favorite shows tulad ng The Chasedown anytime, anywhere through Signal Play app. Today was wonderful and I enjoyed today's show. I hope our viewers did also as much as we did. In behalf of our mga ka-chasers, maraming salamat. Zaldi Perez, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jerry Ramos. Yan, na talagang ikaw din ay nagmumukhang bayani sa iyong look today. At syempre si Abac Cordero, thank you so much. And of course, Waylon Galvez. From the rest of our team, from the studios and their homes, ako po si Riza Diaz. We want to thank you all for joining us in this week's edition of The
Chasedown.
Kami po ang boses ng pinagkaisang Pilipinas 1PH. Thank you guys. We'll see you
Happy
again next
weekend.
week.
Stay safe.
See you next week.
Bye.
See you next week.
See you next week.
See you
Bye.
next week. See you next week.
Bye guys.
See you next week. See you next week.
See you next week. Next week na eh, next week.